I had it all. At least that's what everyone told me. A successful career as a lawyer, a beautiful wife, and 2 children who adored me. My name was Jack, and at 42 I was at the peak of my professional life. I had everything anyone could ever want, or so I thought. The hours I spent at the office were long, but they were worth it. My reputation in the legal world was unmatched. I had built my career from the ground up, and my clients respected me. Most importantly, I had Laura, my wife. She was everything I'd ever wanted in a partner. We had been married for 10 years, and together we'd created a life that seemed perfect. Or was it? But as the months went by, something started to feel off. It was subtle at first, the way Laura would get distant, distracted when we were together. She'd come home later and later, and when I asked her where she'd been, she'd smile, but there was a certain coldness in her eyes, a coldness I hadn't seen before. I wanted to believe it was nothing. I told myself I was just being paranoid, but there was a nagging feeling in my gut that wouldn't go away. One evening, after another late night at the office, I came home early, hoping to surprise Laura with a quiet night in. But when I stepped inside, I saw the glow of her phone on the coffee table. My curiosity got the better of me. As I picked it up, I saw her text messages. Nothing overtly incriminating at first glance. But then I saw it. A name that shouldn't have been there. A name I didn't recognize. And the messages, they weren't just friendly banter. The tone, the intimacy, something about them felt wrong. It hit me like a punch to the stomach. I put the phone back down, feeling the room close in around me. The doubt in my mind grew larger, overwhelming me. Was this what I thought it was? Was she cheating on me? I couldn't shake the thought. For the first time in years, I was unsure of everything, and the worst part? I was afraid to confront her. What if I was wrong? But what if I wasn't? What if my perfect life was about to come crashing down? The next few days were a blur. I didn't know what to think, but I knew I had to confront Laura. I needed answers. I couldn't live with this knot in my stomach any longer. When I did, she didn't deny it. She didn't even look guilty. Laura admitted she'd been seeing someone. But what came next, that shattered me. Her affair wasn't with just anyone. No, it was with someone from my world, someone I knew and respected. It was with one of my most trusted clients. My mind raced, trying to process the information. This was no ordinary betrayal. This was someone who had been in my life, someone I had trusted, someone I had worked with for years, my own client. Laura explained that she never meant for it to happen, that it was a mistake. But none of that mattered. It wasn't just a mistake anymore. It was a violation of everything I believed in. The man she'd been seeing, a client I'd worked tirelessly for, a man I'd gone to bat for in the courtroom more than once. I felt my world start to crumble. How could I have been so blind? The woman I loved and the man I had respected had been conspiring behind my back, together. And now my career, my reputation, everything I had built felt like it was slipping through my fingers. I couldn't let it go. I had to know the truth. If I was going to lose everything, I needed to understand why. So I started digging. I looked through her messages, her emails, anything I could find. The more I uncovered, the worse it got. The affair had been going on for months, but that wasn't the worst part. No, the worst part was that Laura and my client had been planning this for years. They talked about me behind my back, mocked my profession, and laughed at how easy it had been to deceive me. The betrayal cut deeper than I ever imagined. They were not just lovers, they were conspirators, and I had been played like a fool. But then, as I sifted through the last of the evidence, I found something that left me breathless. My client had been using this affair to manipulate me, to control me in subtle ways. He had manipulated my cases, steered me toward certain decisions that would benefit him, and all the while I had thought I was making the right choices. I was his pawn. I couldn't believe it. Everything I had ever worked for, all the success, the hard work, it was all part of a game to him, and I was losing. I thought I had it all figured out. I had been betrayed, yes, but I still had one thing left, my revenge. I started planning how to expose my client, how to ruin him in the legal world, the very world I had built. But as I dug deeper into his life, I stumbled upon something far more dangerous than I ever expected. He had dirt on me, the kind of dirt that could destroy everything I had ever achieved. He had been secretly gathering information about my personal life, my family, my finances. He knew about my darkest secrets, the things I had kept buried. He had leverage over me, and he was using it. Now I was faced with an impossible choice. Do I expose him, knowing it could ruin my career, or do I keep quiet and try to salvage what little was left of my reputation? The moral high ground I had once stood on had vanished. I had no choice but to play his game, a game I never asked to be a part of. My pursuit of justice had turned into a battle for my own survival. In the end, I didn't get the revenge I thought I wanted. I realized something much more painful. There was no winning. If I exposed my client, I'd lose everything. If I didn't, I'd live with the shame of knowing I had been played. The truth I discovered is rarely as simple as it seems. I walked away from it all, my marriage, my career, and the man I had once called a friend. My life would never be the same, but I had no other choice. As I sat alone in my office, looking out the window, I realized that sometimes you have to lose everything to understand what truly matters. And while I may never fully recover from the pain, at least I was free from the lies that had shackled me. Freedom, I realized, was a kind of victory in itself.